I remember when I first got this Gamesir X2 Pro controller, I was going to do a review on this controller, but I scrapped it because I just didn't see the big deal with mobile gaming. But after a while and seeing the rise of mobile gaming and all the cool Android games that are coming out lately, I figured let's revisit this controller and give this controller a proper review because mobile gaming is on the rise and a lot of people are getting mobile controllers. And this was the very first mobile controller that I owned, so why not start off with this controller right here? Let's talk about it. Alright guys, so because this was a discarded review that I recently revived, I do not have an unboxing portion for this video. So instead, what I'm going to do is show you all the accessories that comes with the Gamesir X2 Pro controller. So like I said before, when you open the box, you get this cool looking case that comes with your controller. So you can throw this in your bag and it will protect your controller, joysticks, and whatnot. Opening this case up, you get the controller itself. We're gonna open up this first. So this controller may have a little bit of smudges. Again, I have been using this on my phone. So the buttons are actually very small on this controller. And also to let you guys know that you can actually swap out the A with the B and the X and the Y to make it like more of a Nintendo Switch layout if you want to do that. Also in this video, you're going to see a white controller. I used to have the black and the white version. The white version I gave away to a friend, so hopefully she enjoys it. So that was a long time ago. But anyway, I'm back to the controller. Yeah, so basically it has A, B, X, Y, which are all mechanical keys, which feel really nice. You also have two analog joysticks that are bigger than normal, but they actually feel very nice. The way how they rub on the plastic, I do wish there was a little bit more of a plastic ring around it. It's not bad, but you can sometimes feel the difference. The D-pad also feels like it's mechanical. Now I will say that the D-pad is kind of stiff, but it's not too bad. So if you were to hold down, you won't be able to push the left and right button at all. So you got that. The buttons, the LB and RBs are also mechanical keys, which they feel really nice. You have full analog triggers with the left trigger and the right trigger. And on the back of this controller, you have two programmable buttons on this controller. It's really easy to program. All you gotta do is just hold start, select. I mean, actually, no. I'll actually show you guys how to do that later. But anyway, also with this, the cool thing about this controller is that this controller has a pass-through charging port right here. Now I believe that this controller can like pass through maybe like 15-20 watts at max. It doesn't support supercharging, but it's a nice thing to do to charge your phone. But also be wary when you're playing games on your phone and have it pass through charging going through. Your phone may get a little bit hot, and that varies from phone to phone. So just something that you guys can keep an eye out for. But yeah. The USB-C port is actually like this little bendy wiggle little port, which I actually think is a really good thing. So you don't accidentally like mess up damage the port of this or to damage the port on your phone. And also it stretches out pretty decently well. Like you may be able to fit like small tablets on here, but yeah, the way with the extension of this, it's pretty awesome. And let's get into the other accessories that you get with this. So because we're doing things so differently, you do get this little box that has all the other accessories, such as you get this little sticker right here. You get this little pad that basically lets you register your controller with Gamesir, so that way you can use the warranty just in case something happens. Where you basically get extended periods for 6 months. You also get special arbors, and you sign up for a giveaway, but I never did that. You get the manual right here, which will teach you all the ins and outs of the controller, how to place it into your phone. It'll also teach you about you can swap out the buttons, how to program the buttons, etc. And it actually has a bunch of different languages. So there's that. And you also get 1 month of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which I have yet to use. That expires on August 31st, 2024. So I don't know. I probably should just scratch this off and just give it to you guys. So it'll probably be somewhere in this video. But yeah, you do get a 1 free month of Game Pass Ultimate. So yeah, that's it. And also another thing too is you get these cool looking thumb caps that you can put on the joysticks. I don't know why I haven't put these on here yet, but if you think the joysticks are a little small and you think they're a little thin and you want some better grip on your joysticks, I don't see what's wrong with these. Actually, I'm gonna put these on. Actually, this is very easy to put on. Holy crap. Like super easy. This feels so much better with these thumbsticks. I don't know why I did not put these thumb grips on before, but oh my god, the difference is crazy. I've been playing without thumbsticks this whole time. But yeah, that's pretty much all the contents that's inside of the you're going to see inside your box, where you get this cool looking carrying case. And when you open up the carrying case, you're going to get all this stuff that's inside that's going to basically teach you the instructions on how to use the controller, and plus you get some cool thumb grips that you can put on top of the thumbsticks, which I should have done since day one, because this thing, wow, well, I don't even know what the hell I was thinking. But yeah, definitely use these thumb grips for this controller. All right guys, so here I am with my Gamesir X2 Pro controller, and also this is my phone. So currently I have the Galaxy S22. I don't have a lot of money to get the S24 as of yet, so, and plus this phone's been working pretty fine for me. So, but without further ado, I'm gonna show you guys how to usually insert your phone into this controller case and how to line up the USB-C port to go inside. So normally the safest and the best way to do, not just with the Gamesir controller, but all controllers that are like this, is you want to push your controller out and then you want to line it up and then slowly let it go in like this. So normally this controller is not really phone case friendly, and I actually have the thinnest phone case currently on the market to make this work. So with this controller, and with the current phone case, I kind of got to like squeeze it in a little bit just for it to make that connection. And there you go. Now now you see the LED light glowing right here. That's how you know the controller is connected and it is fully functional. Okay guys, so another thing I want to show you is the Gamesir app, is the mobile app that is compatible with this controller and other Gamesir mobile controllers that you can use on your phone. So the cool thing about this app is that once your controller is connected and got the app downloaded, you could do stuff like test out your gamepad to make sure all your buttons are working. You can also update the firmware on this controller. As you can see, my firmware for my controller is already up to date. And it also does cool things to you, like show you all the games that can work with your mobile phone, which I think is really, really cool. You can also check out the store too, which lets you know all the other Gamesir's accessory, especially this Gamesir X4 Aileron new mobile gaming controller, which actually you guys are going to see a review on that soon because I got my hands on it. And just basically shows off all the games that are compatible, like all the games that a lot of people play with this controller. Some new releases, games that are trained on Gamesir, games that are compatible with the mapping controls. So speaking of mapping controls, let's actually talk about that real quick. So with this controller, you can actually play games that normally only support touchscreen controls with this controller by basically putting an overlay over the game and let you do the inputs as if you're playing a touchscreen game, but you're really using your controller. The way how you do this is basically you got to put your phone in developer mode, and then you have to enable USB debugging and wireless debugging, so that way you can basically set up this controller to basically be activated and allow you to use this controller over touchscreen control games. And I'm actually about to show you an example of how that looks like real quick. Okay, as you see right now, I'm playing Call of Duty Mobile, and even though that Call of Duty Mobile only supports the Xbox controller, PlayStation controllers, and a backbone mobile controller, but with the Gamesir app, I'm actually able to play this game no problem using a controller. And honestly, this is actually a really cool thing, because this allows me to play not just like Call of Duty Mobile with this controller, but many of other touchscreen games that normally don't support controllers with a controller, which I think is really cool. And wait, let me see if I can get this kill here. Yep, got the kill in, and I'm about to die. Well, there you guys have it. You can play Call of Duty Mobile with the Gamesir app and with this controller. I've also been using this controller playing emulators on my Galaxy S22. So for example, I have been playing a lot of GameCube games using a Dolphin emulator, and also been playing a lot of PlayStation 2 games, and I can honestly say that this controller is well suited for all emulators on mobile phones. And if your phone can run it and you have this controller connected, it is honestly a great experience. And it's also a cool thing too that I can switch the buttons to a Nintendo layout. So when I'm playing playing my GameCube emulator, I can have the GameCube button layout just like set up as close as possible. And when I'm playing my PlayStation 2 emulator, I just don't honestly look at the buttons because I already know how the button's at. But it does allow me to play mobile games, and it is a great experience. Also, the fact that there's actually analog triggers on this controller makes it great for the GameCube emulation side of it. So yeah, I definitely would recommend this controller with emulation. You can also use this controller with streaming services such as Xbox Game Pass on a mobile app and the Steam Link on a mobile app. So I have used this controller with the Xbox Game Pass app, and I have to say, like, this controller works very well with the Game Pass app, and it's kind of made around the Game Pass app in mind. So hooking this controller up and connected to Game Pass was very simple, very easy to do, and I highly do recommend this controller for Game Pass because it's kind of what the controller was made around. So yeah, Game Pass was a good experience with this controller. Use this controller with Android games. I have to say that this controller is actually very, very great when it comes to Android games. Playing games like Combat Master, which the controller has native support for, is really great. Plus the 2 programmable back buttons kind of gives you a little bit of an advantage when playing those like really fast-paced first-person shooter games. Playing hack and slash games like PGR Punishing Gray Raven, it is really great to use the controller. And also, because the controller has analog triggers, you'll be able to take advantage of those triggers, like playing games such as Grid Auto, which is also another great mobile game for you to download for your phone. I have to say, like, this controller is great for mobile gaming in general. The one thing I will say about this controller is that this controller is primarily a D-input controller. So if you have any mobile games that support X input only, unfortunately, this controller will not have native support for those games, and you will have to go through the Gamesir app and, of course, turn on the virtual touch controls options and map all the touch controls to the controller for it to work. But this isn't too much of a problem for me because majority of the games on the Android mobile market does support D input. So just keep that in mind when you get this controller, and if you wonder why this game says that it has native support for controllers but it's not working with the X2 Pro controller. So I have owned the Gamesir X2 Pro controller for about 2+ years now, and these are my thoughts about this controller. After owning this controller for some time and using it, I have to say, overall, I think this is a great controller to use for mobile gaming. I like the fact that this controller does support pass-through charging, which is really good for me. Also love the fact that this controller has 2 programmable back buttons and full analog triggers, so that way if you were to play like games or on the cloud base like just Xbox Game Pass or using Steam Link, you have full-fledged triggers that you can use rather than just having like clicky triggers, which, I mean, it's really good. It makes it really good at emulating actual controllers when you're playing games on the cloud. Also, the fact that this controller supports majority of games, and for the games it doesn't support, you are able to use virtual touch controls using the Gamesir software, which is a big plus for this Gamesir Pro controller. Now, there are some downsides with this controller, I'm not going to lie to you. One of the first downsides with this controller is that this controller is a D input controller and doesn't support X input, meaning that if you run into an Android game that only supports X input, this controller isn't going to work. Now, I'm not really sure if that's like, if I could blame Gamesir, if I can blame the developers of the mobile game. But the fact of the matter is that this controller is a D input controller, and it is difficult to play certain games with touch controls when you have to do the virtual touch control mapping. So I am going to give it a ding just for being a D input only controller. Also, I'm gonna give it another ding because this controller does not have a headphones jack. So believe it or not, there's actually people with mobile controllers that like to use headphone jacks to not only just plug in and listen to the games while they're playing it, but also to use the mics and to talk to people. It is crazy, I know, it's mobile gaming, but people actually use it. I don't know. I don't know what to say. People really do use these headsets, and they like headphone jacks in their mobile controllers. But other than that, with that being said, like, this controller does meet the marks for a lot of things. And also, there's one other downside. This controller isn't as phone case friendly compared to other controllers. Like I said before, for my S22, I had to get the thinnest phone case on the market. And even when I put this controller into this controller port, I kind of have to squeeze the controller just slightly just to establish that USB-C connection, so that way I can actually use this controller while it's in this phone case. So with that being said, if I was to give this controller a rating from 1 through 10, with all the stuff that I was talking about, I give this controller a solid 6.5 out of 10. It is a controller that's slightly above average. I understand that there's other models of this controller, such as the Hall Effect joystick version, but that one doesn't come with back buttons, and the original version, which also doesn't come with back buttons. And then plus, for those two versions, they don't even have analog triggers. They just have button clicky triggers, which it could be a plus for some people, or it could be a minus for other people. I can see it as a minus as if you're playing Xbox Game Pass, or if you're playing Steam Link, or any of those games that uses full X input controllers or Xbox controllers. You do not have that full trigger squeeze. You just have 0 from 100. So, but with that being said, yeah, this is my first mobile gaming controller. I'm glad I got to reviewing this controller because, like I said before, mobile gaming has been on the rise. A lot more people playing mobile games, and hence Gen Alpha is currently like playing a lot of different mobile games. And yeah, they honestly will love to have mobile controllers for their games. So I figured, why not review mobile controllers now? So here you guys go, the Gamesir X2 Pro, my very first mobile gaming controller that I'm going to review on this channel. 6.5 out of 10. All right, guys, so that is it for this review. If you actually like this review, you should do me a favor and hit that like button for me. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, hit that notification bell. I know this is my very first mobile controller review, and I plan on doing a lot more mobile controller reviews because I have a couple of different mobile controllers that I honestly have got acquired, and I kind of want to review because, again, mobile gaming seems to be up on the rise, and there's a lot of decent games on the mobile side that I believe that people should not only just check out, but also make sure that they have the best mobile controller for experiencing those mobile games. So until then, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.